So, so, so they're the opposite of the free press.
We did it like that, and now we do it like this. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
They claim to fight for liberty, but they're authoritarian as they come. So they're the opposite of the free press.
We did it like that, and now we do it like this. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Yes, people. Welcome along, Red Pill Phil on YouTube. Thank you very much for taking the time out. As you can see, there's been a couple of different changes in terms of jingles and fills, which you'll see over the coming weeks and months in what I'm doing. I would like to take the time out now to thank the lovely Katie Jane Swallow from childrenmatter.news for the technological uplift that this channel has now received, courtesy of Katie. So thank you very much. Thank you all for jumping on. This is going to be quite I wouldn't say an unhappy topic. It's a reality check. It is something that is going on and we do need to talk about. We do need to be balanced in all different directions, the polarization and the castigation of different demographics. It's been crazy over the past 2-3 years anyway. This COVID-19 has probably polarized it even more, you could say, in some countries. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this.
Now, tonight, the dust is yet to settle on China's strategy to fight COVID-19, a move that has been termed as discriminatory, at least going by images trending on social media. Back home, leaders are piling pressure on the government to evacuate Kenyans in China after images appeared showing Africans being evicted from houses and spending nights in the cold. KTN's George Maringa has been keeping tabs in this story and now reports on an issue that may put to test the relationship between Nairobi and Beijing.
It will do. It's going to test geopolitically all types of countries when they can see that this is going on. When the coronas, we first started getting the murmurs and the rumours that coronas was a thing. I don't think too many people, including myself, took it too seriously in this country. I remember at the time I was going to London over the Brexit. It was the end of October, I do believe. And it was just breaking. There was 1 or 2 cases. I think there was 1 or 2 cases in England at the time. Didn't take it that serious. But what I do remember is that when I was walking around London, being that it's a tourist hotspot, there was Oriental, Asian, Chinese people of that descent. Could have been a multitude of different descents, but it was in that area, you could say. There was kids, there was adults, they were all walking around London with masks on. In a sense, you think, okay, they're taking the precautions seriously. No one in the country was taking it that seriously at the time. What seemed a bit hypocritical is that this emanated from Wuhan, it come from China. So it seemed weird that people, Oriental, Chinese, whatever, were actually wearing masks, not for the protection of people in England, but to protect themselves from the people of England. That's how it appeared. And it was like, really? Really? When it's come from the country where it's come from, but yet now you're making me feel that I've got the likelihood of giving it you. It just seemed a little bit twisted. So from all that, I guess diplomatic relations dropped through the floor. Next thing you know, people are calling it Kung Fu flu, Wuhan flu, and all kinds of, you could say, passive racist comments kind of slapping the Chinese for it. When the bottom line is, no one really knew exactly who spread it. We kind of understand that it was spread from a district, an area in China. I can't fully say whether it's come out of a bio lab, whether it's just a natural organic instance, or what has gone on, whether it's come from bats or anything. It just doesn't make sense. What really changed is later on down the line, it's gone from that now to now blaming certain demographics for bringing it into that country. Or at least that's how it seems, you know?
Actually locked me inside and took the keys and went away. So I couldn't go outside anymore. My friend just told me you are safe. They told me you are safe. I was like, can I have the paper to prove that? They was like, there's no paper. It's okay. Just know you're safe. I was like, okay, so now I can go wherever I want because I'm safe. It was like, not anymore. Like you can't go outside.
You can't go outside. Why would that be? Why would that be is because what is going on right now is a lot of discrimination in China that are now discriminating against Black people, Africans, in a whole manner of different ways. It is pretty shameful when you think about how it came about, when you think about the accountability, the death toll around the world, that the Chinese government, even if they feel it never directly come from them, it emanated from their country. So there's an element of responsibility and accountability, which I've never heard any Chinese leader come out and apologize to the world. So before you know it, instead of being Kung Fu flu, they're now using a judo move and blaming what are African Black people in that country for possibly spreading the COVID-19.
I was just sitting outside the police station. They just gave me a chair, like you can't enter. So I was just sitting outside. So they talked for like 2 hours with my friend. Then they came out. My friend told me that you can't go on the streets like anymore. You have to be on lockdown, like on quarantine for 14 days. I asked the reason because I don't have the virus. They were like, it's just procedure.
Just procedure. Does it seem a bit uneven? Is that the treatment that they are displaying with everyone? I mean, in a previous clip of that chap there, he says how they took him back to his apartment, they locked him in and took the key with a promise that a test would be given to him the following day, and a test never came. They just locked him in his apartment. I'm also hearing stories of people who have got bona fide legal contracts with landlords, you could say. Now the landlords are coming up to their property, relinquishing the deal on the spot spontaneously, and then giving them an hour to leave. This just seems to be Africans. Just seems to be Africans. I don't see this happening too severely like this to other demographics. I'm sure there's been a paranoia with most other demographics within China over this, which scratches to another point, which I'll bring up later on. But particularly with the overreacting, the element of ignorance and arrogance, which is being displayed by some Chinese authorities and even some people.
Look at everybody outside. Everybody is outside. Look at the Chinese police. They won't allow us to rest. They chase us away from our house. We don't have anywhere to live. They are pursuing us. Why?
You don't know what to say, do you? You know, and I do want to say at this point that if anyone thinks that I'm all of a sudden gone protectionist against what is regarded as a skin tone that is close to me, then what I would say to you is this is the same outrage, this is the same level of disgust that was displayed on the 22nd of May, 2016, when some dickhead went to the Manchester Arena and he bombed a load of innocent people, resulting in 22 people dying, countless people being maimed. There could have been black, there could have been white, there could have been anyone in there. It was irrelevant. It was the level of terrorism that was displayed against the public as an outcry against what? The governmental system? Well, I don't know. Fundamentalism doesn't always follow rationale, but that's what got me stirred. Now, what kept me doing the YouTube, which I could see was disparaging, is because there was an element of the white population that were feeling victimized because they couldn't even bring this topic up, which was radical Islam, without being castigated as being racist. Even I got called a Nazi. So to me, this is exactly the same outrage that I'm seeing, that you're blaming a demographic, which is heightening tensions all over the world because of this. This is not a protectionist mentality. This is not, oh, let's get pro-black on this. No, this is not. This is looking at it really through rationalizing, going, I am looking at a virus that has spread throughout the whole world and killed hundreds of thousands of people, and it'll probably keep doing that. How it started, we don't know. We do know where it started from. We do know where some accountability must have to start for now, although later on down the line, we do need to fully establish the facts. The world will never be the same because of this event. Ultimately, you've got to look at all the factors here, not just turn it on a demographic that probably had fuck all to do with it, unless anyone can prove that this emanated from African nations, thus them being imported to China, then I will back down. But if that's not the case, this is just plain vilification of people because of the skin color. And it's a get out clause to stop the Chinese being constantly blamed for what at the moment looks like they spread.
Stay put. It's just procedure right now in Guangzhou. I felt like discriminated because, I'm black, and right now everyone thinks black people have the virus.
This is where it's going to get a little bit dangerous now, because there's going to be ramifications because of this. There's people I know that are up in arms about this, white and black, because this could be the final boot to kick off some form of a race war. People that are already through this and through other scenarios wanting to point the finger at demographics for the woes that they feel in life, for their lack of job opportunities in their life, for the lack of prosperity in their life. And in some cases, there's an element of truth, but it's not the total truth. And you can't do that. You've got to look at yourself as well as look at other people. But this is certainly wrong to demonize a race of people when there's no proof of any element of guilt here. It's just trying to offset the guilt from you, trying to victimize. I mean, this is almost going back to the days of rounding up the Jews. I mean, this is so crazy.
This passport belongs to the federal government of Nigeria. In line with international practice, no any country have the right to seize the international passport of another country. Why are they seizing Nigerian passport? It does not belong to the China.
They collected all our passports. Look at them. They collected all our passports.
We don't know where they are taking us to. We have been in quarantine for 14 days now. We don't know where they are taking us to.
So imagine how uncertain people are going to be thinking now. They've just been rounded up, scooped up, probably had every right to be in that country, working, paying rent, living normally. But ultimately, because of the colour of their skin, now they're being rounded up. That is very reminiscent of the brown shirt mentality. Now, for me, tell me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people, I started this journey 3 years ago with me being called a Nazi, me seeing that there was fundamentalism, that if you spoke about it, you were Islamophobe, you were racist. Followed it through. After best part of 4 years now, numerous amount of marches, numerous amount of organizations, some good, some bad. Most of them started with the right intention. but through egos and other situations, it's not worked out. Now, we've gone from me being a Nazi to now people in this country indigenously saying that I don't belong, calling me a civil nationalist. By doing that, they are claiming that they are an ethnic nationalist. Now, you know, if you want to break down terms, maybe that's the pigeonhole you can put me in. I'm a human being, you're a human being. If you want to kind of have this two-tier system, that's fine. That is fine. I think ultimately, when that argument was going on and I was called not English and people were saying, you know, repatriation and your missus is a white slut, she decides to walk off with a black man, not even sleep with him, just walk off with him. These are the people that turn around and say, well, China's allowed to have an ethno-state. Japan's allowed to have an ethno-state. What's wrong with keeping your indigenous population at the height? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with diversity as well in its true natural form. So there's something gone wrong on two lines there. But what I will say is, isn't it funny the attitude that then breeds from what is regarded as an ethno-national state? The bigotry, alienation. Isn't it funny? So I hope, in a sense, part of me never wants this country to become anything like China. Now, possibly that'll never happen because China runs under a totally different system. It's more communistic in its nature. But it's still got that element of arrogance where it does believe the ethno-nationalist kind of ideology to the point where it literally keeps everyone else at arm's length. And we probably didn't see it as much over the years, although we do know that Chinese, in the majority, are isolationist in a sense that they do like to stick with their own. That's fine. Doesn't mean to say all of them are like that. It doesn't even mean to say that they're bad for doing that. I'm just saying that that's what you can see. But does that breed a mentality? Does that breed an arrogance? Maybe, maybe not. Don't know.
They cannot give us house. They cannot give us hotel. They cannot provide a place we can stay.
They are not a criminal. They are not anything. Why are you harassing them?
Good question. Why? Why point the finger? Communist state. People are so submissive that they're kicked into touch pretty much instantly. So if their own people are kicked into touch instantly, what do you think about people with different colour skin? Different colour skin who they're now trying to blame for bringing about COVID-19 to their country when there's not a shred of proof for that.
It makes you feel like an animal, like people are afraid of you right now. I feel like people saw the news and they think like every black guy has the virus now. One day I was just chilling with my friends. Then my friend called me. He was like, the police are asking for you. Then we went to the police station. When we got there, they didn't even let me go inside.
It's quite difficult, this, because people are people. I truly believe that. So when I'm seeing this doesn't matter whether white or black. It's really not an issue. It's a right and wrong. I can only blame someone for something when I know they've truly done it. I can't blame a whole society when I can't even prove that they've done anything. And it doesn't matter what colour skin.
City leaders in southern China are denying allegations of coronavirus racism, insisting that foreigners are not being discriminated against. Africans living in Guangzhou say that they're being kicked out of their homes and face harassment as health workers step up testing for imported infections. The African Union, Nigeria and Ghana are calling on the Chinese government to address concerns.
I mean, what's going to happen with the ramifications of this around the world now? It come out about the batch. You had a load of ignorant people running around saying, well, I'm never going to get a Chinese meal again, never trust them, they eat anything that walks. And, you know, that must have been hurtful. But what's this going to do around the world? If you're going to point the finger at something that has happened in such an event on a global scale, you're going to go quick to blame a demographic. Surely different countries where demographics of that nature are going to be there, they're going to not like that. They're going to want revenge. I'm already seeing posts of people pretty much saying, carry on, because when it comes to it, you'll see what will happen to a degree. I'm already seeing posts of areas in Africa where they're rioting over this. It does feel that Africa is very much being bullied at this moment in time. Intellectual property, minerals, financially. We think that we're slaves. Africa's getting it from every direction. And they're now getting blamed for this.
Lately, China has put a lot of development money into Africa. They built the African Union headquarters. They built the railroad from Nairobi to Mombasa. But you also have a lot of African traders, African students who have gone over to China. Officially, on an official level, there's this kind of feeling of fraternity. On the ground level, people to people, the Chinese simply don't like them very much. They're basically kind of, there's a lot of racism. I've been to Guangzhou. I've been to that area that they call Little Africa, or more derogatorily, they call it the Chocolate City.
Chocolate City. That tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? That tells you all you need to know. You're certainly not on a level footing when someone's going to denigrate the area as Chocolate City. You're certainly not respected in the highest regard as an individual. You're superseded. You're not as relevant when it does come to it. Now, the irony is, you can go to a lot of countries around the world where that same attitude applies. You can go to the Middle East. Black people are regarded as second-class citizens. You can go to India and Pakistan. Pakistan has got a vicious caste system. Black people are the bottom of the run of the ladder there. You go to Brazil, the black Brazilians are regarded as the lowest of the low. So it does feel that, man, why? In a world where we're getting done over, all of us, by initially people that have got more power, more influence, and they've been able to devise a plan to get all demographics fighting, all people of political persuasions fighting, whether you're gay, straight, or whatever you are, fighting. And meanwhile, they're building the bunkers. They've got the food to keep themselves going. They live in the southern hemisphere, just watching all us react.
City leaders in southern China are denying allegations of coronavirus racism, insisting that foreigners are not being discriminated against. Africans living in Guangzhou say that they're being kicked out of their homes and face harassment as health workers step up testing for imported infections. The African Union, Nigeria and Ghana are calling on the Chinese government to address concerns.
Now, I know when a couple of weeks ago, there was a couple of articles that was talking about a disproportionate amount of BAME community, Black, Asian, Muslim ethnic group that were getting the coronas. Now, this reverted to key workers, if I get it right. Now, there could be many factors. They were trying to intimate that it was because of big families, but you can't say that with every case. You can't. You can't automatically assume someone who's of the BAME community automatically has got a big family. I'm the BAME community. I'm not a key worker, but I've got 2 kids and a wife. That's it. So you can't draw to that assumption as to why there's a disproportionate amount. Is this race specific, this virus? I don't know whether it is. I think within all different races, there will be key individual differences that a virus may mutate, thus making it a different strain, a different kind of mutation within that demographic, within that individual, within that demographic. So I'm not a scientist. I'm probably not qualified enough to even say that, but I'd have to say it on a balanced way. You just can't certainly say, well, black people get it more. No, I mean, how many different black countries, different places of descent that people come from, they've still got darker skin, but doesn't mean to say I'm relative of someone who lives in Sri Lanka or India, but yet still got dark skin. So all the different traits within them descents are going to have a difference in outcome if they was to contract COVID. Surely. But same again, no one really knows at this moment in time. What we do know is that China needs to speak up, China needs to own it, and China needs to stop discriminating against people that are non-Chinese, because that's the bottom line here. It's not a case of going pro-black. It is what they're doing. They're literally closing the gates and saying, you know what? We are an ethno state, and now we're going to get more ethno state-ish, because the only way we can deal with this is kicking out foreigners. Now, that is regressive behavior as far as I'm concerned.
Images and videos began circulating on social media depicting harassment of Africans by Chinese authorities. Africans have now become targets of suspicion, distrust, and racism in China. On Sunday, the Asian nation reported 99 new infections within 24 hours, and the events in China have caught the attention of Kenyan leaders.
We are in discussions to ensure that Kenyans who are in China are protected and their rights are not violated because of COVID.
Well, the rights are being violated. Everyone's rights are being violated. Even me sitting here doing this for you, I have had my rights violated. Even you watching this, if you're doing it under the premise of curtailment of freedoms. It's absolutely gorgeous outside, has been for the past few days, but yet we have to sit and listen to people building narratives, promoting them right in front of your face, and you can do very little about it because you sat here. So I guess it's up to you guys. Leave it in the comment section. This is something that I really wanted to talk about. Does it change my opinion? No. All it does is say to me, geopolitically, you can't trust anyone. It's really difficult to trust any world leader at this point because they're all trying to get trouble away from their own border. And by doing that, demonizing another country is no problem. We've seen it done for decades. There's no change now. In fact, it's going to be even more so now, because who's going to want to admit that they are accountable for causing this all over the globe? So expect more of it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this. It's been a little bit of a different stream, still learning. I like the way I can kind of do this, so I guess I'll be doing a little bit more of this in the future. Thanks to all who support the channel. Please like and subscribe. There'll be more posts coming up soon. I'm going to be doing a couple of interviews with important people coming up soon, survivors. So that should be interesting. So I'm going to leave it with this, guys. I love you all, even the pissing haters.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with you. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
red pill,